Hello and welcome to episode 23 of Let's Talk Tactics. I'm your host, Elsirelle.
Hey, I'm Dana Blue.
And unlock.
This week, we're going to go over the news side of things for once. We don't have a super duper dedicated topic, but we do have a lot to talk about with things that came out this week, some quality of life things, and a couple, things in the near future to look forward to, and maybe one spicy topic, depending on your opinion on things. So let's just start going through the news, guys. Obviously, Elsirelle and Garvall are the biggest news probably for us. We'll kind of leave them for a little later, but something I want to touch on real quick before I forget is, if anybody hasn't noticed, the shops with the 2,000 free Visior instant plus fives, have you guys bought any? How do you feel about them? It's the second week of us having them now. I think they're incredible time saves, and if I could put Visior value on large energy pots, I think I'm going to spend 2k Visior to cut out some farming on some of that stuff. Have you guys done that at all?
Yes, I bought. I bought both weapons this week, and I believe I bought something last week. What did we have last week? I know I bought one item.
Yeah, Smart Coat. We had a Lohengrin. We had Plat Mace and something else. Yeah, is it something else that you bought? Oh, Fetus Lucerna, but it was Shield.
Maybe I didn't buy
Shiva cloak.
Maybe I didn't buy anything last week then, but I bought both weapons this week. I was using a +2 blade on my Runestern. And now I have Elsarell. Yes, that's her name.
Perfect.
So I have Elsarell. So I bought a +5. I'll probably use both. I'll probably have some team at some point where we're using both anyway, and I need a second blade. So +5 is way better. And I also bought the glove, the +5 glove for Garvel.
Right, it makes sense. We have no basis for it, right? We have no books yet. We have no recipes, so it's a nice shortcut. People should still be doing the missions for all the Visior and the rewards, but. Daniel, what about you?
Yeah, so it's weird how to hear different accounts of whether how people are saving their Visior. Like for me, I haven't invested in the 2K Visior for these weapons, just because it's been absurdly easy to grab the brutal stage recipes for these gloves.
Mm-hmm.
So I already have 70 or something, and I've kind of just casually done it over the past couple days. I don't really want to spend the Visior, but now that you mention it, the large pot energy saving makes me kind of reconsider it. Is it
you could farm books instead, right? So if you buy the +5, you go farm books and eggs and all the things we need. Those are the best. Yeah. I think those are just generally the best farms anyway. And then you could go and work on, say, Affinity and Resonance on some new units and things like that and other cheaper missions. So there's a lot of I've been trying to work on my Affinity lately, and it's brutal.
I've been farming so much of the story drop, the double drops from story.
Are they on right now? I didn't.
Yeah.
It's
just it's just 1 week a month, right? And then I've been really needing it in terms of just the faint memory orbs. My blue, purple, every single stage has been just depleted for me. So that's where most of my energy expenditure has went to this week so far. Starting from Wednesday, obviously. But and one thing, before I knew it, I had 63 recipes. So I was do I really need to buy the +5 when I already have enough recipes for a +5? When are we expecting to see the next glove user, Valentine Soleil or something? So I was is it really worth it? But I don't know, maybe I should just go for it. I have the stash, I have the Visior stash to really just be able to afford it, budget it out. So I don't know, you're making me think about it now.
Sorry.
So for me, it's less about the recipes but the books. It just takes a long time to farm the books, and so that's why I went for it. I just want to slide in really quick. But what were you gonna say?
Because you don't auto click or anything, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so it's harder for you to do that because people who auto click multis, they can just I think one of my friends got he almost cleared the monthly book reward in 1 day.
Yeah, and that's I used to do that.
It was 1 or 2,000. It was insane.
Yeah, especially when I used to be really when I used to participate a lot in the Rhapsody multi-hub server, Discord server. I knew it was possible to get enough books to get a max +5 as long as you had the recipes within a day or two. So I've been telling myself, yeah, I could do that, and really just invest a day and just like, or setting up like I don't really do auto clickers that much, but maybe it's worth it.
Yeah.
But I've been telling myself I do that, and I just haven't done it yet. So I'm like, maybe I should be realistic and be like, listen, are you going to do this, or should you just buy that? So
Yeah.
it's got to be real. Manage your expectations, as I always say.
So I think the 2K Visor +5 for us, we're talking about this. It's obviously valuable. It's a big time save, whatever. But I think it's amazing for free to play players because while their Visor is inherently a little more valuable because they can't just like top up on it, their pots, they have no pot income other than what you get from missions, and that's the big difference. And so it saves them a lot of multi time when they could be investing in something else. So I like that they're available for those of us that want that shortcut. While I also agree with you that the brutal farms are pretty generous as long as you have a brutal. Like if it's one of those level 50 ones and you have to spend, like, those can be a slog, but at least the brutal drops are nice.
Yeah, I'd like to see them be consistent with this kind of thing in the shop, even when there's a state like some of our brutal stages are like just recipe events in general. Like some of them have been really horrid in terms of drop rates. So if they stay consistent, even when it's like a bad drop rate event like that, I think that'd be cool.
Like I'd love to just be able to buy like a Sasuke's katana. Like I haven't really farmed those. Or there's some weapon that had like a really obscure book type that just I did not want to farm at the time. That I'd like to be able to do that. Like if I could have bought a Venera dagger, that'd been beautiful too. Because I was waiting on awakening my Venera until I actually had a weapon for her. But also along the lines of the shops, have you guys bought any of the daily Mega Chris things where you can get like 200 void, 200 ice, 200 earth? No. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Trap.
I know people were stuck on ice Mega Chris to finish their like purple lightning or whatever the katana for last wall was called. So I know that was something that a couple people were interested in. And like now looking back, I wish I spent all my raid medals on Joyful Hearts because I could have just bought the Earth Mega Crest and made my life easy and actually finished a piece of gear. I think it's the Soul of Thamasa uses Earth Mega Crest. But the Earth Mega Crest are so expensive with raid medals, I wasn't able to get all the materials for it. Whereas I think I would have had I bought the cheaper material and then just had the Earth Mega Crest. Yeah, so not that I want to spend Visor on that at all. Like the Adamantite's whatever. It's basically infinite if you multi enough. But the actual Mega Crest are I'm so angry.
Whenever somebody brings, this is kind of an aside, but whenever somebody brings up Purple Lightning, I always think of the Japanese name for it, which I think is more compelling. It's Shiden.
Oh,
And
yeah.
And like I just I don't know. I always think of it because like I think it was Cabbage that was talking about it, and he was like, I prefer the Japanese term for it because it's more accurate. It's like I believe it's roughly something like the flash of lightning off of the katana blade. And I just think that's so much cooler than purple lightning, you know?
It sounds like you gave it to a like third grader and you're like, name this sword, and like, well, what does it do? You describe it like, let's see, adjective, noun, purple lightning. It's like a Power Ranger weapon or something. I don't know, but no, Shiden would be pretty dope. I hope we get a Masamune at some point, or do we already have Masamune? No, we have Kotetsu,
so. Yeah,
a weapon, and Kotetsu the ability. I don't know. I guess.
Cool.
We don't know the English name yet for Oron's sword that's coming. Could that be the Masamune?
That's what I was thinking. I think it could be that.
I'm gonna look that up next time you guys are talking about something. But any other shop stuff you can think of? If anybody spends money, there's another set of, I'm sure you've already seen it, but 1K for 80 shards of a unit. I now have 6 of those saved up for Gilgamesh free X jobs. So like
these are important in particular because they're 80 and not 40 like they usually are.
Exactly. Yep. And I mean you get other stuff too. So it's not only is it 75% off shards for anybody, right? No, it's even more than that.
75 for Gilgamesh, I think.
No, because it's 1K for 80. So 2K for 80. Yes, you're right. Yep. And then so that's insane value. But also like the other stuff you get adds to that value. Not that XP is that hard to get, but
it's like instant buy.
Yeah.
See it, click.
I saw it like, all right, I'll buy my weekly energy now and just use the paid viz for these. But obviously it does hurt a little bit to like be buying all that stuff knowing the anniversary is coming. But at the same time, part of the value of anniversary is getting shards from all like whatever the banners that are coming. So this is just more efficient versions of that where I get to choose. So pretty excited about that. Going along with releases, this isn't for us, but I do want to get your guys' thought on this. So Duane and JP.
I was confused at the beginning because I thought it was a global original, or not. Well, apparently it is a global original. It's not a global exclusive, but I thought it was a global exclusive. But I was like, okay. I mean, like, I don't have any big opinions on what the JP side gets. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, Daniel, any thoughts from you?
I'm kind of similar. Like originally, I thought it kind of sucked that they never had the chance to get him. Even though like I've always been skeptical that we'll get units like the winter and summer units and stuff. I always kind of looked at those as like the JP exclusive, whereas we get like the global exclusives. But if they're moving to more of like an JP original and global original, then it's like, then yeah, sure, they should get him. He's awesome for like a dark team for PvE or PvP. So yeah, kudos to them, not only for getting it, but like putting their foot down and actually having their voices be heard, you know?
Yeah, so that's the part I was going to bring up, was the fact that I think I've made this clear in previous casts, but if nobody's ever heard my opinion on this, I would prefer more continuity between the servers, like for us to have different content of the same thing. Like the fact that the rivalry mask works on anybody, it's great. It's cool, but it's not the same in JP, and that just makes it essentially a different game. At some point, there's gonna be enough changes where it's like a whole different game. So I like the idea that they get Duane. I also think it'd be cool if they got Freevia. Eventually, we get the summer units, and then like everything, we get to see similar metas. Maybe the release order is different for limited units and like not exclusives, but like originals. However, the fact that players were able to complain and get the price reduced down to the regular price of a UR while he retains the cost. I mean, the cost isn't really so much the issue. Like the unit cost of 100. Like if there was a double costed unit that costs 80, like imagine if Halloween Leela was double cost. Is she more powerful than Duane? Do you guys say? Like are there 80 or less units that you would say are more powerful than Duane in the way we have him? I think yes, because you don't see him on every team. You don't see him everywhere. He doesn't just run the meta. He's just a good unit that has tools that are useful for some content and something. Like he's good, but he's not a must-have, must-buy, whatever.
He doesn't run it because he already has counters, so it's like
right. So the cost isn't so, like the power level isn't so much the issue. It's just more of the investment difference. Do you think that sets a bad precedence for, in terms of like the players being able to drive the game more than the developers, or do you think it's a good thing, like fight the power, like we got what we wanted kind of thing? Give you a second to think.
Well, so from my point of view, I mean, so I don't know too much about JP because I make it a point not to read up on them so much because I just kind of like to see how things are. Like I like little surprises. Oh, we're getting this cool unit, but from the things that I've heard, it seems like global players are overall treated better. Like we get better, monthly logins, we get better deals, we get better banners. Fair. So and even on the Duane, like I don't know how his banner's coming out, but when we got him, we got like all three of us got him for fairly cheap, right? Like
$47.
On the shop. Exactly. Well, cheap,
Yeah.
But and like when the shards, we got so many of the shards for free, right? So I don't know how that'll be like on the JP side, and from the precedent from before, like how the deals that we get versus the deals that they get, I would assume that the shard count they get is not as generous as ours. The banners that they get is not as generous. So therefore, I mean, therefore, I think it's a good thing that they lowered the price, because like I'm not. I mean, I have Duane and I've spent like money with not like the double cost price to get his shards to fully max him. But I'm not going to complain and be like, oh, like how come they get it for much cheaper, because of the difference in value that we get overall on the first point. And the second point, the reason why I'm happy is because I'm like, oh, you guys have been getting like double costed unit after double cost unit.
That's another big one.
So if like you were able to say this is enough, we can't keep doing this to us, and that pressured them to lower the cost, I think that's great. I think that sends them a message as well that Like you can't keep charging your players insane amount of money. Like you have to set a limit somewhere, and hopefully that they kind of take that message home in their future development plans.
Yeah, so the only thing I would say to that is not every player needs to have every unit. So like it doesn't really matter that you release 3 100s in a row. Just stop spending money then. Like you don't need to have every unit. That's the only thing I would say to it, just from more of a perspective of like, I mean, that's all it is. Not everybody has to have every unit. Duane's not meta breaking. I actually really disagreed with Cabbage's video when he talked about, you know, needing the newest thing for PvP, needing like everything to be maxed. Like, listen, dude, like, first of all, he's someone who in the past has supported 89 units and not been wrong a lot of the time. Like, you can get away with 89 units, especially if you're not going hardcore in arena or whatever. And like, yeah, for the first week or two when there are arena bonuses, it helps to have the new unit. But Duane wasn't one of those units that just like broke everything. Like, I think the two biggest swings in the meta were Warrior of Light. When he released, he just kind of took over as that de facto tank role. True tank, I think all of us can agree based on previous definitions. And then Halloween Leela was the other big change in the meta, and those two were kind of the most decisive units that were released. But Duane was just good again, and if someone really pulled for King Mont, Black Rose Helena back to back, and they're that good, you're going to continue to use them. I don't think Duane goes on that team. Like, Duane would be pretty good with Helena if they can get some chain stuff going on, dark chains or something. But really, they're just not. That's not something you're gonna do. So if they want to say, oh well, my team of 3 that needs to be this like super competitive PvP team needs Duane, I'm like, I call bullshit. Like, I don't think that's true. But I do agree generally with the fact that I forgot that we do have better weekly logins and things like that. So that's actually a fair point. Especially, do they get less Visio per day? Is that what it is?
I've heard that they're like the daily
Mhm.
Visio that we get like 60 a day, or actually I think we have more actually, right? From those chests, those small.
Yeah.
I think they're still getting the old one. Like that got updated for us at some point. So again, I don't follow this. I am not on their server, but from what I heard, that they still have the old bonus that they get, which is like drastically lesser than us, right? And like for example, the banner that we have now, where we can spend 6K to get either Garvel or Elsirelle, it's 6K for them, and it's a 50-50 coin flip, right? So you might not even get what you want. So like that's an example of
I mean, global is spoon fed in a lot of ways for sure. So yeah, actually I like that perspective, and that does actually sort of change my mind a little bit in terms of evaluating the the whole precedence thing, because it's almost like reparations. Like, sorry for all the shit we've put you through. Here's a olive branch of a unit that's not total meta, but it is funny though to like all JP players saying, haha, Global's unit or whatever is shit, he's this character nobody cares about, haha. Then they get released, like, why can't we all get him? It's like, really? you're gonna have both of those arguments? Like, fuck off. But Daniel, sorry.
I don't think it sets a bad precedent, because I think ultimately the decision lies with Gumi to make that decision. Just like if something like this happens in the future, like I don't think you can like realistically make a defense out of like, hey, you did this last time, so why can't you do it again this time, or something like that. It's really dependent on the circumstances.
People will try though.
Well, and especially because of said circumstances, like you mentioned, like the multiple 100 cost units and stuff. I'm also I'm glad like some form that like they got Duane, but I'm a little confused at why they got him now. Like
oh, for sure, yeah.
Like there's like, because of the months or whatever that they're ahead of us, like there's all these units that are kind of like higher on the power creep curve than Duane is, and so it's cool that they gave it to him, but I don't think I think it's fair that they made him like quote unquote normal cost, because he's not, like you said, meta defining. Like Black Rose Helena, for instance, like stands out to me as one of those meta defining units. Yuna, another one, and we didn't even mention like Agrius. Like I think it was kind of like Warrior of Light Agrius, and then
we just do that to make sure that Locke's blood pressure stays low for most of the cast.
Right. But yeah, I was having a conversation on like a Twitch stream last night about people think that Agrius was just as meta-defining as Halloween Leela. So it's funny you bring it up now.
Yeah, Agris actually might be a fair one to also
Mhm.
say was kind of another stepping stone. She was more like an intermediate, and then with
Yeah.
others became a problem. But
Um, I think that's kind of all I have to say. I think I was going to say more, but it was just like, yeah, you guys kind of already covered most of it.
his EX job is pretty dope, though.
Yeah,
the
yeah. I
his
looked at the skills.
his defense 15 buff is now defense 15 slash resist 10 pierce resist 10,
Nice.
all in one, which is sweet. And then his
Uh,
upgrade abilities, his disable breaks physical barriers. What? and then his big ability is a slash resist imperil, so 25% on just like a regular mod at range 4. So range height 2 is also, so it's like almost like a jamming thrust range.
So I'm curious if they are going to get his vision card as well. And
They did.
Did they? Okay, cool.
Mhm.
And like what kind of elemental thing it'll be. I haven't really heard what that was yet. And so it's cool to hear his about his X job and stuff too. That's gonna be good to look forward to. I thought for a moment you were talking about Warrior of Light, and for me, like not having had Warrior of Light this whole time, it's kind of sucked. It hasn't sucked as like not having Frederica the whole time, but like I've had to make do with like Engelbert and then Agrius instead. So having to look forward to trying to get like 1,000 of Warrior of Light shards for his shards is like not something I'm really looking forward to and or committed to. I'll
Mhm.
maybe just wait until King Ma or something.
So I can actually pull up. This is gonna be credit to Cabbage. He put up the stats for the card. So it's not. I don't think it's on War of the Visions calc yet, but Duane VC and JP is interesting. This is Cabbage's message. Dark units only. Uh, Party ability: raise attack, spirit, and pierce resist. And then bestowed ability is still slash stack up. Dark resist up and evade down. So they added additional abilities on bestow, but I can't tell if that is dark only bestow or what that is. And then they said it. He said they mixed it up to differentiate it from Omega, which I guess Omega was similar to that card.
Was
So
really
it'll be
hoping
interesting to see if we get adjustments as well.
was really hoping that there would be like an ability tied to it. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
But
Kind of like the updated Exorcist for us, right?
mm, it seems like some of their cards are just like totally different from ours. Like if you look at that
They are.
Ildira card with the, I think it's called Christmas something, like
Holiday
all of it
party or something.
looks,
Yeah.
yeah, holiday party something. Like all of the effects are just totally different from ours. Like even the original bestowed effect, ignoring the party effect. So I don't know how it's gonna look like when like that the second party effect is added to us. I'm curious to see what it'll look like.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see if we get them in the same form, different forms, same buffs, different. But yeah, it's gonna be very weird. One more thing that came out with. Oh wait, sorry, Daniel, you have one.
It was more just like kind of like a general thought about the difference between JP and global. Like, I heard somebody say recently, I think it was on another Twitch stream, like, and I think it was a JP player, Siure, I think. They were like, yeah, JP side is like a paid beta, and like for me, like my
Yeah.
perspective is that like I have respect for JP players because of I don't know if it's like deserve it or whatever, but um, the fact that they don't really have what we have, and they just make do with the best that they can do. I think
Hmm.
is a testament to those regular players. So it's cool to hear from them, and like we really owe a lot of the state of our accounts from hearing from them. So like I think we owe them a little bit of respect, and so that's why I've always kind of looked at it like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've always said that I cannot imagine not having any kind of foresight for things that are upcoming and just completely going in blind or whatever. And maybe they'll like transition us to that in the future, or maybe they'll close the gap a bit or something. But until that happens, yeah, I mean, we get more free stuff. We got Cecil for free, was a big like first time. We're not first time, but was a big step in that direction of being like, okay, well, yeah, we have it easy. So yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, there's some comments made between the servers that will piss people off or whatever, but in general, I agree with definitely, I not feel bad for, but I don't envy that server because of those situations. Definitely props to them. But one other thing that came out with Duane as well was a new sword that was pretty cool. It's kind of like the platinum bow, but on the sword where it's got 20 defense band. So I'm trying to think of like what characters that would be excellent on, because obviously Victora is just has the innate. Sorry, Winter Victor has the innate defense pen, so it's just like a no-brainer goes on her.
So
But Duane doesn't really have that. Yeah, one-handed sword. So it's not Elsirelle who has like tune-up and stuff. You can't put it on her. Looking at the jobs that you can use, I guess it'd be cool on. Well, no, Gilgamesh wants the ice attack.
I mean, obviously, it's ideal for Duane, right? Like he has his self buff of defense penetration and slash up for everyone.
Oh, he does. You're right. Okay, I forgot he had that buff. I haven't used him in a while. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
But it's a cool option.
154 attack, so it's a little less, but yeah, defense pen's cool.
For me, it makes sense to put it on people that can like do like slash down, like for example Gilgamesh, because slash down, like the formula for like doing damage is the different multipliers. So slash down already reduces like 1% of that formula by a huge percent. So also reducing the defense part of that equation by another percent will, I think, add an overall bigger benefit. So I don't know if that, like in Gilgamesh's case, I don't know if that's going to be better than Ice Brand, which adds like 30 ice multiplier. I don't know.
45 overall with the slash. Yeah, 45, if you plus 5 it.
So I don't know. Like, so I don't know in that particular case, but generally speaking, if like someone has like a like with the bow, I thought Rosa would be like I thought the bow would go great on Rosa because she has the ice down effect on her bow, on her skill set. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it'll depend on the target. That's why, like, the defense penetration versus like resistance down argument, it completely depends on the target. So, like the killer bow, for example, will do a lot more damage to a squishy target that doesn't build defense because there's not a whole lot to ignore on them. Yep. You just want more damage. But if you attack a wall who has like his defense buffs on, he's at like 80 defense, the defense pen's gonna do a lot more. Because if you're doing 20% of your original damage and then multiplying that with your like plus 15 or whatever, it's like But if you ignore 20% of the defense first, and then you have your other damage multipliers from the formula with elements or whatever, yeah, exactly. So I think you're right about, even on Gilgamesh, I think it could be valuable, especially if like King Mont, Wall EX, those things are really big over in JP or something. The sword could be excellent on him as an option. I'll be curious to see if anyone does that and then like reports back on it from JP. Again, thank you JP for the foresight on what to think about, but.
Yeah, probably for like something against like King Mont, for instance, like a Gilgamesh as a cold, like he has that elemental disadvantage. So using like Ice Blade might not do as much damage as like the defense pen sword.
All right. So any other thoughts before we get into Garvel and Elsarell? I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered everything. I guess. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So let's move into that. So who pulled for Garvel? Show of hands. Oh, and got. Who got Elsirelle? I am the odd man out this week, so I was able to resist the urge to pull because I don't want to spend exorbitant amounts of money on the anniversary more than I already am going to have to. So I'm just hoping I get them from the pulls during anniversary, and I somehow fall ass backwards into their shards, and I just couldn't do it this time. And I really, really like Garvel, his design, his ability set. He's a unit I had my eyes on for months and months, but then I had the winter units unexpectedly. I had, Daniel's preparing for
his story could be a little bit better.
Okay, so I haven't actually done that yet. I haven't done all the story and stuff, but I'm gonna have to see. I know one of my Mysidia, he's fellow guildie content creator. He actually was thinking about going for Garvel, and after the story, he's like, I'm not getting him anymore. I'm like, man, it's a body of stats. Like, come on.
It's cool that they gave us that story. Like I don't want to say any content is good content, but like it's cool seeing more context for a character. So like I can't really complain. But I think there's just like a cultural divide. I think there always
just
has
an
been
ass
between
in the
JP and
story.
Global. You'll see, Prodigy.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, man. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to do this sooner rather than later. I was gonna do it probably on like a chill stream on Sunday or something, but
But
maybe I'll
I
do
mean,
it earlier.
let's be honest. Like you can just select ticket for him. He'll be easier to build than like a 100 cost unit. And if we keep seeing these kind of like seasonal shards where you get like maybe up to like 100 or more, like you'll have them built in no time, matter of like
Right.
maybe a month or two.
It's one of those things I ask myself, like, I love the character, and like, and I have him now, or if I had him now, but I had to give up, say, maxing Oron, which is a unit that I just want. I know he's not the like super meta choice, but it's just personal preference, and I love the character. The abilities are cool. I want my ice. I'm gonna have literally maxed ice mastery, so like I want to have that as my thing.
Mhm.
Is it worth having a non-limited unit now to potentially not be able to invest more of my resources into these limited things? And I really have to think about, like, I might even have to skip pulling for Bahamut during its feature, which is a painful thought because it's the Esper is nutty, the card is nutty. I plan on having Yuna and not having Bahamut would just be a very bizarre combination of circumstances. So it's gonna be tough. I'm probably gonna end up pulling for Bahamut, but let's be honest. But the Garvel and Elsirelle I'm gonna have to hold off on. Elsirelle I was a lot less excited about anyway, even though I know she is part of the supposed optimal light meta
trio.
team, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'll figure it out. I don't even have Sakura, so we're already behind there. But anyway, you guys actually have them. Talk about getting them if you had some crazy situation for that, or if you just got it the easy way, and how they've been so far for you. We'll start with Daniel.
Um, yeah, so I didn't really hesitate. I like you, like I've been looking forward to Garble for forever. I know we were talking about having similar interests as far as monks, and this is a cool monk. I think this is like the first like actual monk who can really shine. I didn't really hesitate as far as
Wait, real
pulling.
quick, do you want to describe, because people are going to be like, "Oh, he's not a monk," like why you have that?
In the terms of like an Eastern like kind of dynamic, like a monk who can channel their inner energy like readily and use it to defend themselves and to attack their enemies and that kind of thing. Their chi, like it's very like Buddhist,
Except apparently in the story.
Yeah, that's creative liberties. But yeah, but it's always been like a cool dynamic. So yeah, like kudos to you for resisting the compulsion or whatever. But
the way I feel right now probably means I have a problem. That's let's be honest.
Well, I mean, like maybe you're suffering withdrawals right now, but like you're sticking with it, and that means like it's not as big of a problem as it might be otherwise. I hope that doesn't reflect on us badly, but I got lucky during the 9-step. I was like, I don't want to do these paid banners if I can pull them on the 9-step. Like the last time I went for the units on the paid banners first, and then just got like extras in the 9-step, and I was like, don't do that again. So I pulled Garvel
first, yeah.
I pulled Garvel on the first step, and I was like, yes, it's one paid banner down. Didn't end up getting Elsirelle, although I got like an even spread of shards. You can get up to 400, and I got like 200 plus a dupe of Garvel, and then 200 Elsirelle. So I felt pretty good about that. That's kind of optimal for me. I'm trying to build both. Went for the paid on Elsirelle, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. They're both just kind of waiting. I think they have like 100 shards left or so for each of them to max them out. And yeah, I haven't really had much time as usual to like mess around with them, but really looking forward to using them in my PvP teams.
Nice. Lot.
So I really just wanted Garvel. As I said, I don't really make a point to look at units too well in advance. So I only looked at him like 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, wait, so he has charm resist and 100% hit rate. I'm like sold, because like I wanted that combination for a long time.
And stop resist.
Stop resist, but especially charm, because I hate charm teams. Like I hate playing against them, and I don't have Agrius, which is like usually the big counter to charm. Like if you're playing a charm user, you're like, how many Agriuses am I going to run into, right? So now I'm like, okay, I really wanted like a really good charm unit. I have Halloween Rairu, but I wanted another one. So and again, the other thing was like I have a lot of like I keep running into so many evade teams all the time. So I wanted somebody with that 100% hit, guaranteed hit skill. So I was like, I'm definitely getting Garvel. Like that was that was the first thing that like when I read this review, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going for him. So I did the 9-step banner. I only got Elsirelle. I wasn't that excited because I was like, okay, she's cool, but I'm okay, that's great. So then I did the 6K paid for Garvel. I got him. I started building him. But I got a lot more of Elsirelle shards than Garvel shards in the 9 step. And I was already like, if I just complete the challenge board, I was already at LB4. So I was like, okay, well, might as well. I mean,
Yeah, at that
I'm
point.
here. Why not? But I haven't spent any Vizier on the shards itself. Like everything has just been like 4 dailies and then that like 60 paid for 5 shards.
Mhm.
Like that, yeah. So I've
Those
been
are
doing
amazing, by the way. Talk about
yeah,
shop updates.
amazing deal for that. So I've been like that's the Vizier I've been spending, and I think yeah, both of them are LB4 now, and within like 150 Vizier 150 shards left to max for both.
It's so easy to max units nowadays, man.
Just think about back to Tactics 1 when you had to pull and then max like Orlando
No,
and
thank you.
Ramza and whatever else. Like,
Without the 3 shards per Whimsy.
right, yeah, no guaranteed Whimsy shards. Like, there were people
See,
who farmed Whimsies and literally just didn't see shards in a day. They do like 8 or 9 Whimsies,
Yep.
and tough
I don't know
shit.
if you guys remember, but I was talking about like in our earlier episodes, like seeing Ramza's stupid face and being sick of him.
Ramza's stupid face. Yep, that is one of the famous Dano quotes. Yeah, man. Definitely, definitely an improvement for that. And the bingo boards are just such value. These 9-step things, but the 9 steps are almost, they feel bad to not pull on, even if you don't want the units. Like the amount of shards you get for that, just pure value. And eventually, when you just pull the unit, you'll just have all this value already spilled into them. Like, sure, maybe you will never use them, and then okay, maybe it's not valuable for you. But for anybody that does like to at least awaken their units to say 4-star and get them up as high as you can without putting like rainbow frags into them,
Yeah.
great value now.
If you go for all 14K, all 400 shards, it's like what, like 35 Viziora shard, which is like literally almost that 25 shard, uh, 25 Vizior per shard, like ticket, like select ticket deal.
Yeah, and then you also get the pulls. So yeah, and then also there's other rewards, right? Or is it just the shards? Like, are there like pots or anything on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
are pots
so
and all kinds of stuff.
So that's actually why it almost feels worse for me not to pull. Like, I'm like 14K, but then I'm like, all right, so 14K if I have to invest it later is $140. I'm like, I can't do that. More than I'm already going to. So yeah. Man. What cool
Yeah,
units, man.
I don't think any sane person is really comfortable like talking about how much money they spend.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm long been Royal Rank 12.
Like,
so.
Just feels bad, so we just avoid talking about it.
Every once in a while I have to, though, just to remind myself, like, make sure I'm like, am I still okay with this? All right, cool, let's keep going. So have either of you used them in PvP yet?
Yes. So I've used Garvel, and actually, like, I should probably update my point of view from like what I just said. So I said I wasn't really excited to pull Elsirelle and build her just because I had her. Turns out she's amazing. So, with that aside, I haven't used her in PvP yet. I only used Garvel in PvP. He's level 89, so he is missing his TMR, and I think his TMR, like I could see some people pulling him just for the TMR. Like if you don't like the unit, his TMR, in my opinion, is that powerful because of
Yes.
the 50% magic penetration. Like that's insane.
Once you max it, yeah.
If you max it,
It's 30 at level 1 though. Like that's still pretty significant.
It's like almost like what's it called, Exorcist level? Yeah, crazy.
And it's one of those it's gonna be useful no matter what. Like even if an opponent has 0 magic penetration, it still gives you 40 magic. So
40%.
40% magic. Yeah. So that's like you're still getting a buff from it either way, right? So anyway, TMR side, I don't have that TMR. I've been using him in random battles here and there, and he just seems so interesting because there are like so many different builds that I've thought of with him. Like I could build him like just on a missile team with like Frederica and Nivlu and just uses missile attacks. And he does pretty
Venera,
good.
Dark Missile Chains.
Yeah, that too. So he seems pretty interesting. And then like having that teleport ability, like he works really well on a double quicken team because he can like run around with that teleport and hit like really far range. Um, and then he has his barrier. I've had a Kane hit him, like a Kane with his own vision card hit him for like 1k. So and the Kane was level 9 and he's only level 89, and the guy's like, I didn't realize Garvel was such a tank.
Wait, he's got 6 and 8 defense. He's got the 10 pierce resist, and then the 50% barrier plus whatever plat robe or what else you're putting on him. Yeah, he's very, very solid.
His reactions are crazy. He's got
all 3 of them are incredible.
Yeah, like it's kind of a toss up which one you want to use,
Yeah.
He has the second, third, and fourth best reactions in my opinion. So the first being like actual reflex, but choosing between the 2 types.
So in short, I think he's great. I will talk about my opinion on him specifically about the upcoming CM later on, because maybe it's not so great there, but I think as a unit, like in general, I think he's fantastic.
And then Dan, you said you also use them.
Yeah, so kind of like what Locke just said about like wanting to talk about like my plans for class match 6 coming up sometime this month. Like hopefully we'll see that as that develop soon. Yeah, so it's weird. Like I've been looking forward to Garvel so much. I didn't expect to kind of be planning on using Elsirelle more than Garvel for class match at least. I've been kind of living vicariously on through other players using Garvel in live PvP, like from like their accounts on the live PvP Discord. Join the Discord. But yeah, so it's been really cool hearing people's accounts of like Garvel, just like one-shotting people, just like the AOE guaranteed hit, like just like double quick, and like he can fill the role of a hyper carry. Especially because of the mobility with his pulse like teleport, just really being able to close the distance and then to get like 2 more turns or whatever. Just it's like a better poison mist. You don't have to worry about poison misting your units. You just go.
But does he targets a panel, not a unit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 4 space teleport.
So it's like what's the samurai ability?
Hayate, I think.
Yeah.
Hayate, yeah.
Hayate.
Because I think that goes 4 as well. And I also saw his the Garvel's goes height of 2 as well, so you can like go up onto things, or like that's crazy.
I was telling people, I was like, this is like a jamming thrust, except for 1 less range and you don't actually attack anybody. But and like I don't think that the debuff resistance should be underestimated either. Like that's just kind of like a nice little extra.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can cast it like 3 times is also really cool. It's not just like 1 gap closer. You can like disengage just as easily.
It's nice as TP, right? So like a lot of the gap closers, like Excalibur off Gilgamesh, eats up a bunch of your AP, where this is like generating you AP. And then the Twin Chi Rupture ability, the 245 mod on like you could hit 2 units if they're next to each other with Quicken and his hyper vitality buff, like that. Yeah, so now that I know Pulse doesn't have to target a unit, that's why when you guys were saying he has this to close it, I'm like, kinda, but he's hit somebody. He doesn't. So you just run up, Pulse, and then just Twin Chi, just like things are dead.
So like,
oh my goodness.
As much as I like to dwell on just like how awesome hyper carries are and like how much damage they do and like, oh my god, leads damage, like we are like, I think most of us know like from our live PvP experience that it's not just about the damage, right? It's about like utility, but it's also about survivability, right? Like you need to be able to take a hit to have that consistent like success, right? So like that kind of leads me to Elsirelle, who like I'm really looking forward to testing more out in my PvP. She's kind of the light bruiser that I've been looking forward to using. She's not a tank like Warrior of Life for like by any means, but she has more than 1 type of resistance buff, like AoE resistance buff. And I think that's incredible. She may not be as quote unquote tanky or bruisery as other bruisers, but the fact that she has so much utility for the rest of the team, as well as her mastery, like buffing like a light team, like I can see why she's kind of kind of known for being in a light team. She just provides so much support, and she does like good damage as well. So um, when I say like I'm looking forward to like the return, like as a light bruiser, like return to like a bruiser team. Um, it's because I mean obviously like Prodigy. Uh, I know that you and I kind of share a similar interest in like bruiser teams that are kind of like our bread and butter kind of thing. So
Yeah.
really excited to finish building her, especially with like resonance and affinity and stuff, and kind of push her to the max as far as like on a light bruiser team.
Yeah, I was just looking at her stats closer while you were saying all that. I didn't realize that she has the slash attack defense buff that like Duane has. Once upon a time, I remember commenting on that, but seeing it again now, that's pretty sick.
You
Especially
said
she gets
slash,
to use what's
so
that?
it's slash attack up, not defense, right?
Yeah,
The
slash
concentration.
Slash attack and then defense pen up.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said slash attack, defense. But
Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's really cool too. Like that's it's not just about like the resistances that she brings, but she can also bring that like defense pen and like you said, slash attack up and stuff. Yes, just and like the four uses of like the drain rush, which is like isn't it like a 3-hit like chain or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
it is.
3-hit
Yeah, like
heal 30% from range 2.
like I no longer have to worry about like not having Ramza ever. Like I have Elsirelle now.
Oh,
So,
for the chaining and stuff, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and the fact that it heals as well, like I'm really looking forward to using her for whatever
Raids.
dark raid or whatever
Yeah.
we get next.
I used Lucia for my first time this morning to do her quad shot because I haven't had to
Nice.
do a mission with like a 3-chain since building her. So that felt good. I was like, oh, 8 months later.
As far like a comment on her main job, like I don't think Nightblade really takes the cake for me as like my favorite class. Like I think Rune Knight still does it for me as my favorite job, but I'm really excited to see more Nightblades. And I think isn't King Mott the next unit we're anticipating having it?
I believe
And
so.
and
It's not the
Ninas.
main job. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think it's a really nice, like versatile job.
It's a debuff slashing sort of thing, but it also has like it's got everything. It looks like. I mean, it has a stun, has a resistance based buff, it has a healing power debuff, it has an offensive bolstering of your defense pen and
It's
slash
like
attack. It has a life steal, and all of them are like respectable mods.
I think it's kind of like a subtle increase on the power curve that you might not notice right away. And like I don't want to enable that like that power curve. Like it's not a good thing, but it's kind of inherent in like any gacha or whatever. But
Like
How do you feel about the sub job Nightblade? That's what I thought you were going with at first, and I was kind of like, because the AP drain is obviously something we're big fans of. We've talked about how we use Grace in tournament stuff, and then the spinning slash is like a semi more mild hazard spin thing.
Hazard slash, yeah, hazard spin. Yeah, I think I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's really hard. Like if I'm not anticipating going against like a Magic team, like it's really hard not to go main sub job. Just for the AP drain, man. Like people underestimate. Like I think we've said multiple times over the course of since we started. Like just don't underestimate like stuff like drain force, like AP breaks, TP breaks. This is an AP drain, just on another level.
Now, is this like Mana Strike, or is it like Osmos Force, where those are? Or no, I'm sorry. What are the two different ones? It's AP Break and then like Mana Strike. So which one is it?
Mana Strike is AP Break. This is AP Drain. Like Steve's AP like from the Assassin's job.
Right. Now, this mod of 25%, does it scale with your attack and bonuses like the other like Mana Strike does on Lancers?
I think so because I've only been able I haven't used her on Odin yet. I had her on like Two-Headed Dragon for whatever reason.
I actually just looked. It's not a slash attack. So never mind. It won't have a slash bonus.
No, not the slash, but it's a physical attack.
Right,
so
right.
like
So
like
be higher.
so I saw her attack like a dark unit or something for like 69 AP, and I think that's because of the elemental killer or not killer, but like the disadvantage,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it will scale with like stuff like killers at least. Like we
Okay.
know like Drain Force and
The
stuff does.
universal ones that aren't like slasher, like the ones that are based on the target you're hitting.
Yeah.
Not the,
So you basically look at like the Drain Force equation for this kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah, because it has no. It's not physical. It's not magic. It's basically like Drain Force. It has no typing at all. So
It should be physical, I think.
War of the Vicious Calc is missing the symbol. Then it either War of the Vicious
Oh
Calc.
yeah.
Or
Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Interesting. That's why I wasn't sure if it was based on attack, because it's not a physical ability, and it may just be literally you absorb 25% of whatever their AP is. I don't know. I would love to test, but I can't. Anyway, Vlog, did you have some thoughts of it? I thought.
Yeah. So I think I'll talk about Garvel and like CM, and then talk about why I'm using Elsirelle instead. So
real quick, can somebody go over the CM, like what we're expecting?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So sure. I don't know if I don't have the debuffs by heart. If you happen to know them, like I know we get charm 50%, sleep. I don't know the rest of them. If you happen to remember.
Yes. It's sleep, charm, stop, immobilize, and disable. If the translation is correct, which I believe it is.
Resist 50%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it just immune?
Plus 50%.
Plus 50.
Plus 50. Yeah. And then it's cost 220 again.
220, yes.
For units, and it's the map that was it Behemoth challenge?
One of the Espers.
It was one of the Esper challenges where you had to you started and you went up on the. I think it was Behemoth.
I might
be wrong. Anyway, join the Discord and look at the pinned messages in the class match, and you can see what the JP screenshots look like, and crystal spawns and initial spawns. Good resources. Thank you. Also, shout out to Lazarus and who's the other person that helped with the pictures?
Mako, I think.
Mako. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Locke.
So I pulled him. I thought it was great. I really wanted to use him. I wanted to use him either in a double quicken or a single quicken with like some other craziness, or I wanted to use him in a full on missile range team with like Nivlu. I had like all these ideas planned, right? And then I started using him 89 in like different matches, and then I started using him in the live PvP Discord against other people who are also looking at their CM teams, and I realized that everyone is expecting to fight Garvel because like he's such a powerful unit, so everyone is building some kind of counter. So against Kane, he can like one shot like a level 99 Kane with this jamming thirst without like any other added magic. Like I didn't have any magic cards. I only had like the Helena VC, and everything else is like defensive cards, and he's still able to like one shot Kane. So like he has a damage, but then at the same time, like a person who is like anticipating fighting him, I did like 1,000 damage. Because of all the resists and defenses and shields that people are putting on, because they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be fighting a lot of magic. I'm going to be fighting a lot of ranged units. I had Nivlu with her LB do between 500 to 1k damage on us other team, because again, they're like very prepared for this. So I said, one of the reasons that I decided to use them was also because of the charm resist, but because everybody's getting charm resist, it doesn't stand out for this CM. So I decided, okay, maybe instead of like going for this hyper carry quicken team, maybe I will go with like a different team. And as I was thinking of ideas, I was like, hey, what if I just built a team around Elsirelle? And maybe other like all these teams that I'm fighting, they seem like pretty.
Elsirelle or Elsarell?
Oh, sorry, Elsirelle.
Oh, okay,
this is why I keep calling her. This is why I call her Elsa, because
Elsirelle.
this is why I call her Elsa, so I don't get these names mixed up. Also, Elsirelle. Okay. This is why I moved on to Elsirelle, and I decided a lot of the teams that are preparing to fight against Garvel, they're using like these bruisery type teams. So what I like about Elsirelle is I think that she might actually be a good counter to them, because she has poison, and she also has healing down. And the poison is under the Spellblade subdrop.
Oh, Bioblade. I was like, where the fuck is the poison I missed? I'm like, what? Okay, fair.
So I think like fighting bruiser teams in the past, it was like something like Agrius plus Halloween Leela, who has the Halloween Riders TMR, who keeps re-raising herself, and it's like very hard to fight them, because like even if I like take down Agrius, if I don't kill Agrius, like Halloween Leela will just bring her health back up. And if I somehow manage to kill her again, full life, bring her back up, and I have to deal with that all over again. So having that heal down, I think, is going to be like fantastic for this. and having that again, like that poison, like the chance to poison, I think will also be great. And then this is on top of like just how much of a bruiser she is and how much she can contribute to a bruiser team as well. So that's why I decided, hey, you know what? I think I might just go with a team like this instead. And so then I started working on her with like building up resonance and stuff. And so I haven't really got to the stage where I can test her yet because she doesn't have full resonance with anything or like affinity with anyone. But like that's why I switched my point of view for like the upcoming CM and stuff like that.
Wait, Locke is using a unit or not using a unit because all of his stuff isn't maxed?
I wasn't gonna point it
What?
out. I was keeping it to myself. I was just gonna mention that I've spent like probably
the resonance
at least
5, no
resonance.
affinity Phoebe.
all right. So like I've spent like 1,000 skip tickets, you guys, on story like double stuff just because of catching up, and like I've ended up spending like 150 like million gil because of catching up on these units that like I've needed to max out and like all their skills and
Oh,
like
you broke through 1 billion?
No. I've spent like 150. Like I was at
Right,
like
right.
820, and now I'm at like 680 or something.
Are you still gonna hit your goal?
Yeah, I should be able to. Like
Okay.
anticipating getting like 200 a weekends. It should be. That's why I was like, I'm gonna try to get over it so that I can still end up with that much.
Wait, do you speed run the chambers or do you do a mug team that's slow?
Mug team. It's kind of both. I only run 3 units instead of like the 5 that I have in the past. But like it's still like less than 2 minutes per run, and getting like 15. Like if every mug succeeds, I don't get the max of 16, but I get like if every mug succeeds, then getting 15 is enough for me. So like as long as I clear the 150 to 200 million per weekend, I'm happy with it.
Okay, send me that comp when you're.
Yeah, of course. But in terms of like worrying about like resonance and stuff for Elsirelle and Garvall, like it's kind of went building them has kind of went hand in hand with just like really taking advantage of like the double drops that we fun like I've been waiting for March. I'm sorry to cut into what you were saying, Locke.
No, that was like where I wanted to end off there. Like so I've been doing that too. I've been using those skip tickets to build up resonance fast, but I needed like the equipment proficiency. Like I don't mind them not having like a +5, and even if they're using a +2, if they have like E proficiency, that's not going to be doing much, right? So so I built their resonance up to like 5, and then I've just been like not manually, but like auto running these turns so that they can build their proficiencies and
like
get
overnight.
the affinity up. Yes,
so
and also I think we like that a point that you found out, which I also didn't know, was that the affinity, like the affinity between 2 units, it says that they get 10% agility when you have it at level 3, but we found out that you actually need to have it all the way up to level 5 to get the full agility bonus.
Yeah, I don't know what the math is. I can't personally substantiate this, but I observed it when I got all my units up to 3 for a tournament match from Slarso's tournament. But when I was in the map, my agility, we had the exact same items on, exact same build, same like vision card bonuses in the party. But
That's really hard to do.
But I had less agility. So my Venera ended up at like 128, 129. I was building the anti-Keenblade thing. And you're sitting there, you're like 131 or 130, whatever it was. I'm like, oh, what is happening? I'm like, it says 20% total, but apparently it's not the case. Vinny, I guess, has more details on it, and he studied it a bit more, but it's a very annoying thing to not have, because most of my units are 3 with each other, except for the ones I've used a lot. Like Agrias and Leela and like Ryryu, like a lot of those with a lot of people are 5s. But some of my newer stuff I've built are just 3s. Like that's all I can get to because I just have so much I'm trying to interact with. So it's really annoying.
I don't want to like bring the conversation down. So I'll only mention this briefly, but like it's like why can't we ask for higher standards? You can love something but still be critical of it. So like like the people, like the client is crashing for everyone, and it's like there's these things that like could be better, but they're not for whatever reason. And like, just, it's not only annoying, but it's like disheartening to be spending as much as we're spending and getting the quality that we're getting. And like, they're giving us cool stuff, and like they're trying to develop stuff, but like, just, give us a little bit better standards before.
There's a couple other things that would be nice to have in addition. Yeah. Like, I'm always of the thought of if you really don't like it, then stop like playing it. But it's completely okay to say I wish, like, I'm willing to play it in the state it's in, but it could be better and I wish it was. And I am staying faithful with, that hope that this does improve. So yeah, I can see that way. Now, Locke, I had a question for you, which is, I don't know if this is gonna be quick or not, but do you think that potentially your, say, extra positive outlook of both these units could possibly be due to the fact that it's some of your first +5s?
Wait, what?
so you don't typically build everything to like +5 with all your equipment. So, but this time you're able to buy their things and then just max them. So, do you think that might impact somewhat like how good they seem to you, or is it probably not necessarily?
So it's not so I don't know if you remember, but one of the earlier podcasts I said like, oh, I try to get my weapons up to +5. Like, if anything, that's what I focus on. So
Oh,
I
that's
had
true. You
like,
do weapons, not all right.
yeah. So I typically try to have at least one weapon that's +5. The armors I usually go for +2. Um, the only thing that I went like more than one +5 item was the Platinum Mace, because I really liked both Halloween Leela and Ildira, and I could see using both of them on like many teams, and I have totally taken advantage of that. So I don't know, like I have quite a bit of +5 weapons, but it's just that I usually just have like one copy of them. So if I'm using a second, like if I'm using Lucia and Federica on a team, Lucia just has a +2.
Oh yeah, my
Um,
my question just completely fell apart. By the way, like
yeah,
I forgot that you make +5 weapons, but you don't make
yeah.
+5 armor. So that was my
So
whole okay.
So yeah, so
Never
exactly. So
mind.
that doesn't really
Speaking of
matter
+5s
too
though,
much.
anybody who wants to fix Elsirell's slash resist a bit, remember she can use Runeblade as an option for that +8 slash resist on top of like say Siren or Demon Wall or something. You could bolster up her weaknesses that way, which I think is kind of a cool option. And because she has all the defense pen, maybe you can get away with not needing the higher offensive capability of the Golden Blade. As Elsirell users at the moment, do you guys think that's a potential route you could take, or do you think the damage is just too juicy on the Golden Blade?
I don't know. I have to do some tests
Okay.
to figure it out. To be honest, yeah.
It's hard to say whether I prefer one or the other. I think that she could definitely use the slash resist. I don't know. I've just been kind of like complacent about building the rune blade. That like I have the recipes for it, and I can make at least one, but I have two golden blades. I've just been using them, and I don't know. But I think there's definitely room for Elsirelle to be more of a bruiser than I've made her. So yeah, it's something I should think about.
Yeah, I think it's cool with Demon Wall specifically because Demon Wall gives dark resist too, right?
Yeah, she can get up to
So
like I was talking with Jay Benson, and he was talking about like with Luminous Ring or Armlet or whatever, like he got her up to like 47% dark resist, and I was like, that's pretty impressive.
yeah, because yeah, Demon Wall will give slash resist. It can give some dark resist. Yeah, the ring would be on top of that, and her passive is the other. Like that's why it's a weird like 47 ranks. It's 12% dark resist on the passive on her Spellblade sub. Yeah, Providence of Darkness. So yeah, I mean that's a really cool route I think too for her. I love resistance tanks.
And
Love and hate.
But Sakura's buff on that.
Yeah,
Plus 25.
I think I think I'm not sure if he was including that, but
Oh,
I think
okay.
it may be because of the just like getting as high as 47%. I think it includes that.
Well, Elsarell's -10, so then if you add the what is it from Demon
Yeah,
Wall?
probably
15
did
would put you
equipped.
+5. Then the ring is what, 15 or 25? I forget which
I
way
I
it
think
was,
the ring is
goes.
15. Right? I think I don't
I'm
know
just gonna double
actually as
check real
well.
quick. I'm curious. So Luminous is
it was like 20 and 15 or something like that.
oh yeah, it's 20. Yep. So 20 plus 15 plus 12, 47. So then -10 would be 37. So yeah, she'd have to have 10 from somewhere
Yeah,
else to hit the 47 mark.
I don't I don't remember. It was just kind of like
But anyway, yeah. So it's yeah, that's pretty juicy. That's actually really sick. I didn't think about that. Forget about the elemental rings.
yeah. People don't really think about like elemental resist, like building just like straight out like versus like an elemental team. But I think it's definitely something that we should keep a lookout for, especially once the like the mono element teams get more heralded in with these elemental changes to vision cards.
I mean, if mono dark teams try to counter like mono light teams with Yuna and stuff, I mean, if Elsirelle wears the ring, she gets light and dark. Sakura buffs light and dark, so like there you go. Like that might be the reason that she's so positive. And
then you run her Spellblade sub, and she gets like the resist magic, and it's just gonna be crazy. But I don't think it'd be understated. It can be understated, like Garvel's TMR. It's definitely like one of those TMRs that you should probably look at maxing.
Just real quick, last bit. Dark Gloves. I assume everybody went Magic for. Obviously, if you bought it, you went Magic. But any merit you think to the aim version, which is 15 accuracy, or do you think it's just not worth it, especially with his 60% dex to start the game? In most cases, anyway.
I thought about it briefly, but I think he has access to 2 guaranteed hit abilities, so. Like I'm kind of I didn't build like an aim staff for Sakura for the same reason. Like I don't want to like go half-heartedly into accuracy. Like if you're not gonna go all out for like an accuracy build for a unit, then you're really just doing yourself a disservice, because the AI is gonna like when they take the helm, it's gonna be like, oh, you have 20% chance to hit this unit, so I'm gonna go for that chance, instead of using their guaranteed.
Well, on AI, yeah. But...
yeah. Generally I prefer to just let the guaranteed hits do their thing, unless you're going all in, and I don't see building Garvel for accuracy.
I can see it both ways, because like he has such high magic and the dexterity is pretty good for accuracy, so like you could say, oh well, his high magic balances the lower magic, so just why not have the accuracy? Or you can be like, oh, his dex helps with the accuracy and he has sure hits, so go for the magic. So I wasn't sure if it was like a real conversation or not, because I agree that magic's probably the way to go. But then Locke, you said you bought the thing, so.
Yeah, and I mean I would have probably picked magic anyway because of the guaranteed hit. So I'm like like if I'm building like another aim person on my team, it would not be Garvel. I would put my aim ring on somebody else. So there's really no point in having like just a little bit more extra aim. I'd rather have extra magic. So.
Yeah. So, any closing thoughts? I have one, but if you guys have anything to add in before we wrap up for the evening,
I have kind of like an not off topic, but like more relevant to maybe more recent stuff other than like the most recent banner. So I don't know if it should go before you.
Go after me, yeah. Then Locke, anything?
No, I'm good.
All right, cool. So I was gonna say it's a funny observation to see how often we as a group have gone for a particular unit on a banner, gotten like the other stuff on the banner, and then just like severely enjoyed the other stuff almost more, whether it be like
severely enjoyed.
Listen, man, that's not the word I wanted, but it came out that way. Like for the biggest example one of the big examples for me was like I wanted Selir, and I got Victra in the same pull, and then I've loved and used the crap out of Victra through all of these months. Like Raldor, a lot of people liked Raldor, but like Elstra was just this like super prize that came along with him. So it's cool to see that both of you were like, oh, Garvel, yeah, but Elsirelle. Like in that process.
Garvel in the streets, Elsirelle in the sheets.
Jesus Christ. Oh, thighs. So what were you gonna say, Locke?
No, I totally agree. I did not expect I would like her, but I could see myself using her a lot more, especially for like the coming months and for CM. Yeah.
All right, Daniel.
So, so like I said, I was talking with Jay Benson recently. It was actually earlier today, and it's not the first time I've heard this, but it's about like Winter Victoria. I think like people are saying that she's kind of she's like a pale imitation of like her ex job. Like, really, like she was this hyped up unit because like in large part because of like her ex abilities, and people are kind of disappointed right now. They're like they're comparing her to Nivlu, like she's like a weaker version of Nivlu. But I think that I don't know if that's entirely warranted. Yeah. But I think it's because people aren't really experimenting with her. Like kind of like live PvPers are known to do, you know. And I'm not saying that it was like the live PvP community that was making these comments. It was like, you know, just on Twitch or whatever. But so shout out to Jay Benson for mentioning like how well he's doing with an evade sniper team. I think people don't really consider using like Nivlu's TMR for like an evade buff and just going like an evasion team with snipers. Um, and like I don't know what I don't want to say in large part. I think I'm saying that too much, but like Winter Victoria helps that team, not just because of like, you know, the luck that she can get from like Sniper Master or whatever, but her LB, like the chance to blind, that's huge for evasion teams. Like I think blind in itself, I think it lowers your chance to hit by like it's like a 50% chance or something like that. I can't remember the specific debuff for blinds in terms of accuracy, but just like I've always been impressed with Jay Benson's like his missile teams. Like he linked in the Discord like his guild battle team for like when the fortress like originally arrived, and he just like obliterated this Agrius team with his triple gunners with Loretta. So it's really cool hearing him talk about how well he's doing with this evade sniper team. And I believe it was like Halloween Leela, Nivlu, and Winter Victoria. So shout out to him. If you guys have those units, like try it out, see if it works.
I've been planning out using Venera, Nivlu, and Winter Victoria evasion. I haven't pulled the trigger on maxing the TMR yet. I have the pots too. I'm like I don't know if I want to wait for a different TMR or something.
It's kind of niche because like only like, you know, the range units can use.
But Winter Victoria has been shockingly effective for me. I did a few tournament matches with her where I paired her with the first match. I don't think I talked about this last week, but I paired her with, I couldn't have actually, Kane game 1 and just did, you know, regular bruiser stuff. I had her built with like 50 defense, and then she just had the defense pen based on who I was against. But the game 2, I used her with Glaciella, my level 89 Glaciella, and then Shell, just quickening either of them. And I realized with the team, I actually had all 5 damage types. I think I told you guys about this, where I had Pierce and Strike on Glaciella, and then I had Missile and Slash on Victoria. And like I was able to just like Saintly Wall, do Sentinel and walk up. She would take absolutely no damage because she had 40, I think it was 49 defense before Sentinel, and then plus Sentinel is just like, okay, you can't touch that. And then she's able to like walk up to people and like Blade Bash. She did Taunting Blade chains with Kane. So I did like Taunting Blade, and just throw this massive damage out of nowhere. But she's very versatile. And again, I'll mention another time. I know I did previous weeks. Defense pen doesn't care about which attack type you're using. So if you build her and you have the flat bow and tune up, and then you use target buff, Taunting Blade does a shit ton of damage. It doesn't matter who you're hitting. So yeah, she's amazing. And then I know people were talking about her accuracy being really low. It's really not that bad. I mean, maybe against full evade it'd be a little tough, but I don't know, man. I think she's awesome. She's one of my favorite units right now for sure, for manual content. And I mean, obviously I'll be excited to see if and when we get the EX jobs, what I can do with that. But I'm very happy right now for sure. I mean, of course, Arena's nuts because they just put Fred's Dream as a bonus. So now I don't have to use like some BS card that doesn't go with the team, and I just have like the Titan, Ifrit, and Fred's Dream set up with the triple missile. It's nutty.
Yeah, it sucks that she doesn't use Saintly Wall on in AI in the Arena, for instance.
She typically shows target and then kills 2 people.
Like I literally turned everything off but Saintly Wall, and it's like I've heard from other people in the What If community, it's like bugged for whatever reason. So hopefully that gets fixed. I think we mentioned that last time. Locke, what were we gonna say?
No, yeah, I've been using her in like random match battles in an all water team, and I have Siren on the team. So I'm not even using like and like there isn't anybody on the team that can give an aimed fire or a firing stance buff. So like she has the same modifiers on her like Taunting Blade as she does on her missile skills.
Yep.
So really I can use either type to attack.
Yeah.
So, and she's been doing really great on the team. And for a while, I even switched her back to sniper and just been using her as like a debuffer to have a high chance to disable. Like there are a lot of different ways to use her. If I'm running her, for example, alongside Nivlu, like I still kind of want Nivlu to keep using haste and quicken. So I have like somebody else to give these debuffs to, right? So I don't think it's fair to say, oh, she's a weaker Nivlu. I think an enemy Nivlu will do a lot of damage, might one shot her unless you build specifically against it. But there are a lot of different units that counter each other. I don't think that's a fair statement in any way. I think she's pretty good as a unit in and of herself.
For sure, my opponent must have shit themselves when I just walked up to them and blade bashed with their Victor. They're like, "What the fuck was that?" Like, why? He was like chasing him down. I'm like, all right, run up, boom, hit the stun, of course, because never punished. But the damage was huge. It was like 2.7k or something on this no chain blade bash. Is like
Never
sick,
punished.
Sick.
I think the last comment I have for the night is I think part of the viability and just like how powerful these units are is because of their multiple attacks. Garvel has the missile and the magic. Elsirelle has slash and missile. I wish she wasn't dual gunner. I wish she was like ranger. But I don't know if that would like put her over the top of being OP. But yeah, it's really cool to see these new units with having more than just one attack type, because that allows them to be more versatile. You can put them on more teams. Like for instance, like Elsirelle, just having dual gunner. I don't know if you guys have really been part of the conversation, but like we've talked, we as in like live PvP kind of community, about like how like a light archer, a light range unit would be crazy, right? Like being able to like sharpshoot dark units or whatever.
We already have one. Mister uses her in tournaments.
Oh god. But so the fact that we can use Elsirelle as a ranged unit, like for missile damage, I think is kind of something that hasn't really been explored yet. But in terms of having the accuracy to hit like dark teams, and being able to have her like on a missile team or whatever as like a, maybe not chaining with like the the lightning units or water unit or whatever, but just the fact that she has that elemental advantage against dark units, I think just really makes, as part of what makes her viable, and I think it's really cool. I hope we see more of it.
Athena does have sharpshoot, by the way. It's just called aim, right?
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, I can't remember.
Yeah. But yeah, she's not exactly the most impressive attack unit. But yeah, no, I especially gained a respect for having off damage types with my Venera during the Siren raid. Like, if I didn't have Venera, I wouldn't have been able to auto like one orb that fight, and that would have sucked. And I've definitely benefited from having that. So having those options are nice. I like dual gunner for her specifically just because she is so defense pen focused, so she gets the tune up. She's got the smoke screen for defense buff if she really wants. I think that's cool. But yeah, I mean, of course we all want ranger because we get reflex, we get sharpshoot, and like all the fun toys like that. But not everybody can have sub ranger. Although, imagine if every unit had reflex. Like, let's be honest. Just like lose 15% of your matches.
I'm glad that she's not that OP, honestly. Like, it could always be worse, right?
Yeah, yeah, right. She could have like a charming slash from like range 4 or something. The hardest eye roll I've ever seen.
Wait until we get like a 10 mage thief that can quicken and charm. We don't have a unit like that yet.
Not at the same time, no.
No.
Yeah, Chuck can do either one, but not yeah.
All right. Any closing thoughts?
That was pretty much it.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's it for me too.
All right. We have been Let's Talk Tactics. I was your host, Zach Bro.
Dan Boone.
And I've been Locke.
And we'll see you next time.